Aloha, I'm Steve Roby. Welcome to another episode of Talk Storytime. My guest today is founder and director of Stars of the American Ballet, Daniel Ulbricht. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you so much.
We do these informal interviews. We're doing it in the lobby of the Kahilu Theatre today. And I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about your background with the Ballet Hawaii, and then we'll talk about Stars of the American Ballet.
Absolutely. It was about 7 years ago. We had our first trip to Hawaii, and this was part of a small group that started in Hilo, then came here to Waimea, and then finished and concluded in Oahu at Ballet Hawaii. It's been 7 years since, but luckily the world is moving forward. Dance is back. We're seeing that there's a demand for this. So I was able to coordinate 13 other dancers to be able to bring a show to inspire audiences, get their hands clapping, their feet tapping. And remember, dance is accessible. Dance is something that's really important for people to experience.
Absolutely. Well, tell us about the show today, Stars of the American Ballet. I got a chance to watch the rehearsal there, and it's very diverse, the music choices and everything like that. I think I heard some Eartha Kitt, Michael Jackson. Tell us about it.
So basically, when I design a program, I'm thinking about designing a menu for the audience. You have to find something for everyone. There needs to be a tutu for the person who knows what ballet is. There needs to be something that's contemporary, maybe something that's a little bit more lighthearted. So what I tried to do is design pieces that complement each other, that push kind of the audience towards this kind of journey, like a roller coaster ride, right? And so I only have an hour and plus to do that, but my goal is to feel like there's one piece the audience can feel that they're attached to. Ideally, it's to find the whole arc of the evening, and I think tonight and with our performance here, the audience will be able to feel that, and they don't have to know a lot about dance. I think that's the second thing is, I feel a lot of people go, I don't know dance, and that's exactly what we're trying to dispel. We want it to be so accessible that you could actually kind of jump or lean in closer to the work, and that's sort of the fun part about curating it and then bringing these extraordinary dancers.
Right. Well, tell us about some of the dancers in the show. What are their backgrounds and skill levels? And
Sure. Yeah. All the dancers are principals and soloists, some from the New York City Ballet and some from Ballet West. Two dancers from Ballet West are doing two pieces that we haven't had into our repertory often at Stars American Ballet. So Light Rain by Gerald Arpino and also Romeo and Juliet by Michael Samuin. Again, very iconic titles, but these different versions come together, and despite the dance world being quite small, I think it's these opportunities that bring us even closer together. The rest of the program is filled with top shelf repertory, masterpiece repertory, whatever you want to call it. Works by George Balanchine, Diamonds pas de deux. You have Apollo pas de deux. You have Stars and Stripes pas de deux. You have a fun ballroom couple coming in and doing a nice piece to kind of stir up the evening a little bit. You have another piece by Justin Peck, who is our resident choreographer at New York City Ballet. Christopher Wheeldon, who is also a former resident director at New York City Ballet. And so for me, it's kind of creating that, again, that path, laying the breadcrumbs to our final piece, which is a trio for three gentlemen set to a Piazzolla piece. And again, I think there's something about the tension, the energy, not only in the music, but then, of course, what we see on stage.
Absolutely. Were you able to perform or practice during the pandemic? I'm sure that was a challenge.
Like anyone, we had to really kind of figure out how to pivot, right? So, in fact, Stars American Ballet was on tour when the pandemic hit. So our last show was March 14th, 2020.
Oh my God.
In Budapest, Hungary.
Oh.
So we had a tour in Israel and Budapest, and we cut our tour short. We had one more country to actually knock off that list. And during the show, I was actually purchasing plane tickets for people to return back to the States. It was the evening of the 14th or the morning of the 15th, however you want to say, that the travel ban went in place. We got everyone back to New York as best as possible. And it wasn't until about a year later we finished out that tour, but everyone had to pivot to Zoom. Everyone had to do dance from home. My wife and I were very lucky that her family is about a half hour away from New York City. We were able to get away, get a little more space, be able to teach online, have a yard for a dog to go in, because Manhattan is an amazing, energetic metropolis, as we all know, but space is not its, it's its best asset, let's call it that. So not just myself, but the dance community, I think for about a year, we're kind of in that limbo. And then very slowly, I was figuring out what is the way to be productive and safe, but continue to move forward. And I think it wasn't until about fall of last year that we started to see not just New York City Ballet, but the rest of the dance world begin to kind of open up. So 18 months, 20 months without dance was huge, and I think for a lot of people, they also handle it very differently. Some were like, I love it even more. Some were ready to step out. Some began families. You know, these things don't happen often in that. So we found that everyone handled it differently. Luckily, I tried to keep the momentum going, and having opportunities like performing here this particular week, I think are kind of like, how do I say it? They give something to hope for in the middle of that, and it's not a bad sell to say, hey, come on to Hawaii in March, when I heard we just got 2 snowstorms last week in New York. So it wasn't hard to convince people, but again, it's creating the culture, the energy, and the most important thing is remembering the audience's interaction.
What does the rest of the year look like for you?
So we fly back to New York tomorrow. We all sort of go back to our home companies. The dancers from Ballet West will continue to work tomorrow, or pardon me, the following day. We go back to work next Tuesday with New York City Ballet. Stars American Ballet isn't on the road until the first week of June. We'll be in Bozeman, Montana. Then we'll be in Santa Fe the first week of August. That's sort of our flagship stop, if you will. We've been there for about 11 years in a row. Wow. So we're really fortunate, but really the Stars American Ballet community happens on the company's off season. And so we found that there's really a need to bring dance to these underserved markets. Include master classes, include these opportunities to engage the audience and give them the behind the scenes, if you will, and know what it takes to put this all together, because it's like having a kid. I started this about a year ago, and putting together all of the ingredients of things, and managing our way through COVID, managing our way through, how is the stamina of the audience? What is the audience expectation levels? And what I'm really excited to say is that I feel like the fact that we're able to bring a performance here, a live performance here, especially after the absence, we found the audiences to be tremendously grateful, enthusiastic, and that just feeds our performance that we want to share with the community.
Absolutely. Where can our viewers go online to find out more about what you do?
Sure. I can be found at starsamericanballet.com. There you'll see sort of the footage, the past stops, cities, dancers, tours we've done, and then any announcements that'll be coming down the pipeline, if you will, for performances. But right now it's just going one day at a time and really trying to be present in the moment with every performance that we have, because we know that there will be audience members tonight who've never seen ballet, who've never seen us. And it's our job, our goal, to inspire and engage them to be sort of ambassadors for what this community can bring.
Thank you, Daniel, for your time today.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching Kahilu TV, and be sure to check out BigIslandMusic.net. Aloha.